Have y'all ever noticed that certain artists are associated with being bad? Like every time their names come up, the most you hear people say is that they're a terrible artist. I've always wondered if these artists are truly terrible, or is it just a popular thing to say? Well, right about now, I'm about to find out if one of these rappers are bad, as their name is always associated with such. Soulja Boy's name has become synonymous with being a terrible rapper ever since his inception. Many people were put off by his ability to make catchy dance music, and some would even go as far as to say that he isn't real hip-hop. This is actually a crazy statement to make, as dancing is an essential part of hip-hop, and over the years Soulja Boy's influence has become more prevalent. Denying his influence and impact is nonsensical, and when you discuss his validity in the genre as a real hip-hop artist, he should definitely be on the pedestal, as he adds more of the elements to those who consider themselves as such. In my opinion, he should be discussed alongside the greats, as he's a very influential and impactful artist. Although Soulja Boy has achieved these great accolades, I never hear anyone talk about his discography. He's also still labeled a bad rapper to many people. I myself have been guilty of calling Soulja Boy a bad rapper in the past, even though I've always liked a lot of his hit singles. Well, right about now, I'm about to do something almost no one has ever done, which is listen to all of his albums. I want to see for myself if Soulja Boy actually a terrible rapper people paint him out to be. He has 11 albums in total, and I'm about to share my thoughts on each one.
Soulja Boy, I finish. Why me crack it? Why me roll? Why me crack that Soulja Boy? That Superman.
This album is surprisingly not as bad as I thought it would be. For the dance genre Soulja Boy is associated with, the execution on that front is executed well. A lot of dance songs on this album only work for that particular setting, but as for standalone tracks, they're boring and repetitive. Soulja Boy's overall style is weird, as I've never heard a combination of unenthused and hype sounding flows. But although there's a lot of negatives, there are also some positives. Soulja Boy was able to create very catchy songs, and he even provided an interesting concept on one of them. All in all, this is an okay album for me, as a lot of it doesn't appeal to me sonically. Although this album is filled with a lot of unamusing performances from Soulja Boy, there are a handful of tracks that are very catchy. He also provides great concepts on 2 tracks that highlighted his current struggles in the rap game and past struggles.
This right here is my swag. All the girls.
Soulja Boy improved a lot on this album. He didn't focus on the dance genre that much, as there's more standard tracks on this project. These songs consist of Soulja Boy providing catchy performances over greatly produced instrumentals. Another great aspect about this album is how well he performed alongside the guest features. There isn't a bad performance from any of the featured artists, and Soulja Boy has great chemistry with the artist on these tracks. All in all, this is a surprisingly great album from Soulja Boy, as he improved on all fronts.
Whip my wrist, whip my wrist, whip my wrist, whip my wrist, 360 hurricane.
I had no idea that I was going to like this project. Soulja Boy brought his A game, as he consistently provides catchy performances that involve him switching up his flows during his verses. The instrumentals on this project are incredible, and some of the beats on this album are some of the best trap instrumentals I've ever heard. All the guest features did an incredible job assisting Soulja Boy on these tracks, with Gutta Gutta and Rich the Kid having highlight performances. All in all, I feel like this is most certainly an underrated trap album, as the production is flawless, and Soulja Boy provides consistently great performances.
Money every day, money every night, money. OG Kush blunt.
This album is a major setback from his previous project. Soulja Boy's performances are lifeless. His style is also very lazy, as he creates a ton of simplistic, repetitious choruses stacked with unamusing flows. The instrumentals are lackluster, as they mostly consist of a very simplistic trap beat. Soulja Boy's creative attempts also fail, as his auto-tune singing is horrible on certain tracks. All in all, this is a very bad album, as it's filled with bad performances and boring production.
Yo, I got the yop on me, ooh, I got the guap on me. I got the yop on me.
Soulja Boy picked it back up on this album. He's back being energetic, which led to him creating some pretty amazing tracks. I'm impressed with his ability to constantly switch up his flow, and he even experiments with different styles. Although his subject matter and lyrics are the same on every track, the creativity in his performances makes these tracks enjoyable overall. Just like all creative artists, there may be certain styles that aren't sonically appealing to me, which is a major case on this project. Soulja Boy also reverts back to providing lackluster performances on certain songs, but it isn't too bad. All in all, this is a pretty good album, as Soulja Boy showcases his creativity exceptionally well.
Pop out with Draco, run out the peso, playing by the bottle, they calling me Chapo. I ride the Lambo like I hit the lotto.
At this point in Soulja Boy's discography, I'm just looking for tracks that are bump worthy. Soulja Boy has the ability to provide multiple styles and flows, which leads to his creative choices being appealing and others not so much. Another aspect is the production on these albums, as they're known to have great beats. With that being said, there are great tracks on this album, while others don't appeal to me sonically. Soulja Boy's topics are always the same, as he raps about his riches and shooting people. Although this is the case, his creativity makes up for his repetitious subject matter. All in all, this is a decent album from Soulja Boy, as it consists of bangers, along with a handful of tracks that aren't sonically pleasing. This album is another mixed bag from Soulja Boy, but with that being said, there are more great performances than lackluster ones. The production is good overall, and Soulja Boy still provides multiple unique styles. One major downside of this album are the guest features. All of them provide lackluster performances, except for Bow Wow on the song Bow Wow vs. Soulja Boy, where Bow Wow provides an amazing flow. Soulja Boy's subject matter is pretty much the same, which is going to be a major turnoff for someone that's big on concepts. But lucky for Soulja Boy, that doesn't bother me, as I'm someone that focuses more on enjoyability, which Soulja Boy provides on this album.
Draco. Them shooters gon' step and blitz when I say so. Chopping out tubers, I'm doing the bago.
This is the worst album from Soulja Boy so far. There aren't any good performances, as his delivery is boring, and it also sounds like he has a sore throat throughout this project. The beats are very simplistic and boring, which leads to the overall disappointment of this album. Some of Soulja Boy's worst flows and performances appear on this project, making it a staple in his catalog for bad songs and performances. It also feels like he didn't care about the quality of this project, as his performances severely lack enthusiasm. There are no redeeming qualities on this album, as every song is lackluster. The only good thing about this project are the guest features from the female artist, which is nowhere near enough for me to return to this album. In conclusion, this is a horrible album.
Draco. Spinning on nigga, get hit with the brick. When I nigga, I dub and I ride with that stick.
Soulja Boy picked it back up on this album. His overall flow isn't boring, and there are a handful of performances that I like on this project. He continues to showcase his skill, as he provides multiple creative styles that involve him constantly switching up his flow during his verses. Soulja Boy also provides a very unique melodic performance that's different from a lot of his attempts. The only downsides of this project are that some of Soulja Boy's creative choices don't appeal to me sonically. Another major flaw is that Soulja Boy has rapped about the same topic for about 7 albums straight. The reason this is a flaw is for people who don't like repetitious subject matter, but luckily for Soulja Boy, I'm someone that leans more towards enjoyment. His ability to constantly provide creative styles is what oftentimes saves him from receiving a bad score. With that being said, there are definitely some gems on this project.
Ice out my motherfucking neck and my pen. Don't play with Big Draco, you know that I'm spin. Big doors in the check, cause you know that we win.
On Soulja Boy's final album, he continues to showcase his unique style, which consists of multiple flows. His subject matter is still the same, but he makes up for it with catchy performances. The production on this project is good all around, as there isn't a bad or boring instrumental. There are also good performances from the guest features. Even though some tracks don't appeal to me sonically, I still don't think they're bad tracks. In conclusion, this is a pretty good album, as it consists of good production and catchy performances from Soulja Boy. Now to answer the question, is Soulja Boy a bad rapper? Absolutely not. Although he has not so great to downright terrible albums in his discography, he makes up for it with his excellent production skills. He's also capable of providing multiple styles and flows, which adds a high level of enjoyment to his songs. I found myself going back to a lot of his tracks, even after reviewing them. That alone earns him a good rapper pass, because his replayability is very high. I was cutting my lawn one day and had all of his songs that I thought were good and amazing on shuffle, and when I tell you that the transitions between each song was perfect, I'm not lying. I will admit that Soulja Boy isn't capable of making a cohesive album with meaningful topics, which will definitely turn off listeners that look for that. But for me, I like all forms of hip hop, and repetition isn't an issue with me as long as the artist is creative, and Soulja Boy definitely succeeds on that aspect. All in all, Soulja Boy is not a bad rapper, and I can't wait to check out his mixtapes. I plan on doing the insane task of listening to all 75 of them, as it's something no one has ever done on the internet. I'm also curious on the amount of hidden gems on his mixtapes, because I know that there's a lot of them, but that's just something on the agenda for the future. With that being said, this was another episode of my Bad Rapper series. Stay tuned, because I plan to do a lot more.